Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Red. I wanted to talk about some Bitcoin price action today, the most recent ETF news, and the recent hearing that we had about digital money in the US. Let's take a look at Bitcoin first on the daily chart. After its rally ending at around $8,500, you can see that the RSI levels were very familiar to the rally that we had before we made it to $10,000 around May. It actually had a stronger push, probably because we started at a lower level, and there was also a lot of confidence in the inverted head and shoulders that we had. So looking at the TD sequential for the daily, Bitcoin did hit a 9, and that was a good indication that Bitcoin was gearing towards a reversal. In one of my last videos, I talked about how there was a good chance for Bitcoin to have another weak rally and then come back down. It's still too soon to tell if this is it before we test new lows, but I will be watching the chart to see if it can give me a better clue as to if Bitcoin is going to continue to rally or retest the $6,000 area. The rally to me isn't really broken until we fall below the $6,200 level. I know a lot of you are hoping to see Bitcoin reach new heights, and I'm very confident that we will in the future though. Alright, so looking at the weekly chart, we can see that Bitcoin is in the process of a death cross. Where is it? There we go. Alright, so Bitcoin is in the middle of a death cross where the 30-week moving average is going to cross below the 50-week moving average. And that is a good indication that we'll actually be accelerating faster to the downside. This kind of cross had to happen since around the 2014-2015 area time, and I'm sure a lot of eyes are on this. We're currently in the middle of the third week, and I'm looking to see what price range this week will end at. It's not unusual to have a trend change for 3 to 5 candles, then continue the bigger trend. And in that case, we're moving on from the small bullish trend to the bigger bearish trend that we've actually been going through for a while now. The closing of next week's candle will actually determine where we're going to go. Ending below the 9 candle, ending below here, would be, or really around here, would be extremely bearish for us. But I'll have a better idea on Saturday, and I'll update you guys on what I think then. So off to some news. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about the most recent ETF rejection that the Winklevoss twins proposed. But to be realistic, I didn't think this was going to pass, and I'm sure a lot of people didn't think this was going to pass. The SEC is still extremely unsure on what to do with cryptos in general. I think that the CBOE proposal is a better candidate, but I still think there's a good chance for rejection for that one. It's not that I think it's not going to happen, I just mean that there's still so many concerns that the SEC has, and they're just not sure what to do about it. This really isn't an easy thing to pass. This has to do with the future of people's money. The first ETF is not going to go to the most biased, everything to gain exchange that the Winklevoss twins have. It'll go to a more developed firm. So let's move on. So I know I'm late to the party, but I wanted to talk about the recent hearing on the future of money, digital currencies. And let me just say that I really do believe Brad Sherman is a clown. Let me just say that everybody is entitled to their own opinion, and you're certainly allowed to dislike Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, or whatever. But what really bothers me is that people in office will put in minimal effort, the way Mr. Sherman did, and talk about things that they just don't comprehend. For anyone who doesn't know who Brad Sherman is, he's a Democratic member of the House of Representatives. I do know a fairly decent amount about this man, and his background is impressive, let me just say that. But in this hearing, he made such weak arguments about how Bitcoin can be used for nefarious acts, for funding terrorism, buying drugs, evading taxes, and even made an argument that there's nothing that can be done with cryptocurrencies that cannot be done with the dollar. That, I mean, that made me really upset to hear, because Bitcoin's major benefit is to be able to have the financial freedom to send money to anybody you want without relying on a third private entity or having to pay an expensive fee to get it there. Obviously, in a perfect world, you can send dollars to anybody, but Bitcoin isn't just tailored to the people with that convenience. Some people just don't have that luxury, and if you can't see the relevance in that convenience, then you just haven't looked into it enough. It's kind of like saying that there's nothing that can be done with a text message that cannot be done with a written letter, or there's nothing that can be done with a car that cannot be done with a bike. The reality is nobody wants to bike to work, nobody wants to wait 2 weeks for a response. Those are just some equally as redundant analogies. The whole point of this is the convenience and potential innovation that this brings to the table. I hope Mr. Sherman will look more into this and not just dismiss it as some sort of nefarious tool. He was not the only one that gave weak arguments, and there were some great highlights about Bitcoin in this hearing. I'll leave the link in the description if you're interested in watching, but it is pretty long. And that's pretty much it for me, guys. If you liked what you saw, please hit the like buttons and be sure to subscribe to my channel for future videos. Take care, guys.